city manager's office has divisions, including communications, economic development. I work with our Lakewood Legislative Council on legislative issues, which was a big part of my time in the first 3 months, going through the bills. And Representative Kerr talked about it. There was over 400, and I think we're up to 460 bills about that the Legislative Council reviewed and took positions on certain ones. And there were a lot of bills that were also cut. So it's been a very exciting component of my life. Let me give you some background to know why I took the City of Lakewood position. I worked 15 years in the private sector in the consultant world, a lot with land development and major transportation projects. I worked on the mousetrap that's never been complete, so it doesn't quite work all the way as it's supposed to. I worked on the light rail when I was at Jeffco, trying to get that major project designed out to the county facility. And I worked on the interchange project to C470 in Alameda. All those were when I was with the Jefferson County. So I had 15 years in private sector. I was commuting a lot and decided at that same point in time, how can I enter into more of the community service, and wanted to enter into public service. So in 1994, I joined Jefferson County. I worked there for 14 years. I was in the county manager's office, did a lot of special projects, and then about 2.5 years ago, went into the municipal government at the City of Commerce City. And fortunately for me, a position opened up at the City of Lakewood, and it really, for me, embodied the work, live, and play in your community. And it's a pleasure to come back, work, and be able to give back to the community. So I'm looking forward to everything. Economic development and communications are two of my major focus areas in the first year here, along with the legislative, and supporting our county manager who supports the council. So with that, I just wanted to introduce myself. I have an engineering degree out of Iowa State University, and I'm proud of everything where I've lived, but I really love Lakewood and look forward to the service of the citizens, our organization, and our council. That's all. So I don't know if there's any other questions of me, but just want to introduce myself and hope to come back. And
anytime.
Yeah.
This group's usually not shy, so I'm sure there's no questions.
One area you may be, we have a staff person, Happy Beard, who's a dynamo for dealing with citizen issues. As you get issues, you provide those to elected officials that were directed to her. She responds and does a fantastic job of really searching the issue down. It's like one-stop shopping. And I think every organization should have something like that to help for you get timely response, accurate responses. So I think that's it.
I would like to make a comment on, first of all, welcome to your new position. I've been in Lakewood probably about as long as you have, since about 1991. I love living here. There's a lot of reasons I'm in Lakewood. I'm also a parent of a Jeffco school student active in the PTA, and I'd like our city manager and our appointed officials to know that I agree with what the mayor says in this most recent issue here. We got a lot of great things going on in Lakewood right now, with the hospital, with the light rail, with some of the economic development and things going on. He brings up, though, the Jefferson County Public Schools as being a conversation I think we need to have. It's more than just a school district issue. I think it really is a community issue. He quotes Mayor Burkhalter as, at the end of the day, we're only as great as our schools. And I take to heart the point that he makes here, and I hope that we can use this forum and others to see where we want to go with our schools and what they mean to the community over the next 10
Mark,
years
you have
or so.
suggestions of what the city might be able to do to help?
I just read this last night. I really haven't given that thought yet. But I mean, this goes back to Mayor Burkhalter. At the end of the day, we're only as great as our schools. And if we're just thinking assessment scores and school score, CSAPs and things like that, that's important, and the achievement of our kids are important. But it's also important from the standpoint of attracting the business, keeping the business, keeping happy citizens and productive citizens, not just our kids, but I think the whole environment. So I'd like to, when we look at things, when we look at schools, make it more than just the assessments and the budget, make it what does this mean to our community and quality of life. So I'm glad the mayor made those comments.
Absolutely. Any other comments or questions? All right, well, thank you, Nanette. And again, thank you for all your hard work these last few months trying to get up to speed and trying to get some new processes hammered out. The legislative committee is one that I chair and really enjoyed working with you. You've done a fantastic job. So, all right, we will then go into our city stuff. Well, first off on my list, we will be revisiting medical marijuana. And if you haven't had a chance, you can go online to lakewood.org and see the new ordinance that's being proposed. First reading will be Monday night, and second reading will then be April 25th. So take a look. A lot of it is just cleanup. It gets us in line with the state laws, but it also deals a little bit with the moving mechanism for these places if they are allowed to rebuild if something happens. That's kind of the major one that I drew out of it, if they're allowed to move. Right now we're saying no new applications. We're going to cap it where we're at and just let it go from there. So welcome your feedback. We'll get through this. If you have feedback for that on this, please let us know. You can comment on the website. And we're just here. We really, really need your feedback. We went through this process once, and there were some concerns after we went through it. So we welcome that, and we'll try to address those while we're doing that. Lakewood's ongoing zoning rewrite. I thank you for skipping their meeting and coming to see us this morning. They had one of their sessions, and they will have another one. And the second meeting is the 12th at the Clements Center, April 12th. If you get a chance, there's some flyers over there. We're doing a whole zoning rewrite. It's been a big process. You can go online, you'll see it as Play Your Part. You can go online and get more information there as well. Union Corridor, there was a meeting held on the Union Corridor 2 weeks ago at Kinder Morgan to start taking a look at what the citizens would like to see happen on Union with what is going to happen as far as light rail and the hospital coming online. I think you're going to see a lot of changes as far as those buildings go. Red Lobster is going to be a First Bank. I don't know how long. I imagine eventually they go vertical. And I think Black Angus is owned by Westera Credit Union, so I don't know what their plans are. But the idea is to start getting some input as to, unique qualities of Union, what the citizens would like to see, as well as how are we going to get people across the road safely. There's going to be high traffic counts. The buses are now going to be going down to 2nd instead of Cold Springs because that's where the new light rail entrance will be. So I would encourage you, if you're able to, go to their next meeting, which is going to be April 21st at Kinder Morgan, which is the old KN Energy that sits up on the hill. That meeting is at 5 p.m., 5 to 6:30 p.m. And some of the stuff I had to cut out early, but some of the stuff that I had seen was pretty cool as far as streetscapes and really functioning for pedestrians, to get pedestrians out and change it up a little bit. Do you want it?
Yeah, and they're very serious about getting your input. It's almost, they have a lot of staff, that's almost a one-on-one. So, anything that you've got, it becomes part of the record. They take it very seriously. Please be participating.
And one interesting area that I caught, they were talking about, how do we get people across and yet keep traffic moving? And they threw out the Cherry Creek model, which if you ever go down First in front of Cherry Creek Mall there, there's 4 stoplights right in a row with crosswalks, and they really keep traffic moving and they allow for people to get across safely. So that was one idea that was thrown out to kind of maybe try to figure out how to get it lined up like that and do something along those lines. Just a little.
Just a question. I didn't get to go to that meeting, and I probably will go to the next one. But are they addressing the traffic? I mean, you're talking about how to get across the street. What about all the cars going down the street? Right. And we're going to have a zillion cars with the new buildings that are going to be in there.
Yes, they did address it as far as the flow on Union, and the flow is nowhere, and that's where they threw out the example of Cherry Creek. Okay. The flow doesn't come, the counts aren't as high as that area, and they found a way to manage the traffic effectively through that. We all know that Alameda and Union is going to be a big issue, and that's an F intersection. And
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
They're also promoting alternatives
Yeah.
to try to get people out of the cars. So that would help us.
People out of the cars are actually talking about doing a circulator for all the businesses. A circulator.
Little bus.
Little bus.
Shuttle bus, okay.
And they have a bicycle aspect to the whole union plan as well, so I know the store analysis would
Are you
appreciate
going to
that.
be speaking about Alameda and Kipling, I hope?
As far as,
Well, I was told that there probably are going to be some condos built, and also a Safeway going in, and the park. That's going to be pretty huge.
yeah. And I'm not sure, I think the Milestone property is the condo, would be the condo side, and I
And
don't,
where do you think that's going to be, or where do you know it's going to
I don't know, I haven't heard any, have you, as far as your neighborhood, heard anything about the Milestone?
The Milestone property is zoned, remains zoned as is. I think it's 5R and office. And it was platted for single-family homes, approximately 42 single-family homes. And it remains that way today.
Are you talking about the southeast corner?
Yes.
Call that Milestone.
That's called the Milestone, and you're right, there's the talk of the northeast corner with a grocery store. Nothing, there's been no applications processed on that. And as far as the side across, that's the GSA side.
Right.
That's going to be park, open space. That's the plan for that. And there are triggers in the environmental impact statement from the GSA that would cause Alameda and Kipling to both be widened.
Are they keeping the existing buildings on the northeast corner?
No.
They will remove those
Yeah.
buildings. So all of that will be open across from the Cedar Park. Wow.
Just to clarify that, does anybody know, Margie? There's been 15 people ask the same question. Does anybody know what they're building on the northwest side of the Federal Center? Or no, it'd actually be the northeast side, there's a new building?
Yeah, it's a Department of State.
Okay.
Putting in an archive building there.
Is that what all that new construction is and stuff like that? Because Sue King was asking that when we didn't know.
It's Department of State.
Okay, thank you.
And so all the other construction equipment near the Milestone area, is that related to the bike path?
No, actually putting in sidewalks.
The bike
From basic,
Yeah, it's just a staging, it's just a construction staging zone for that project.
Are they going to steer bike traffic onto those sidewalks?
Oh, imagine.
Oh,
Sure.
Because that's going to be way too busy and a serious safety concern.
Yeah.
and we've seen those emails too, and I copied you on the response from the city. We want to see people use the bicycle paths.
But you're not putting the signs up, directing them to do that.
Well, but they, as far as I know, in the state of Colorado, Representative Kerr tried to do some bicycle bills. They have the right to ride on the road. And most people choose that serious bicyclists don't want to ride on our sidewalks. They want to ride on the road. I don't
But
think
that's a
this,
safety concern for us.
Sure.
We're paying the taxes up to our vehicle taxes, and they are not.
you hear that?
Yes, I did, and
We want to close down our streets to bicyclists.
I didn't
Force
say
them
that.
onto the-
I said direct them to the sidewalks that are built extra wide for their use.
Yeah, and, and I commute to the Capitol several times a week on my bike, and I'm always looking for, actually, that reminds me, I want to talk about 10th Avenue over by Sheridan. If we can get a bike lane. But bikers want to be safe too, and,
No, you don't. The rights to the road is what they want to do.
there are people who, are not good citizens on bikes, just like there are bad drivers as well. But I know for myself, I want to be able to get from home to work as safely as possible, and keeping cart in, when I'm on my bike, that is one less car on the road, and that's less wear and tear on the roads, and that's also less lane space being used at any given time. So, I mean, there's definitely a trade-off there, but I agree. The more places that we can have dedicated areas for this is a bike lane or this is a bike path,